Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into the Hockey Tank podcast. This is Sunday, September 26th in charming Newfoundland, Canada. My name is Trevor Blackler, and as always, I'm joined today with the amusing and amazing Stephen Hale. What's on the go today, Steve?
Not much, man. I'm just excited to get on the go here now and have a little discussion about the sport we love.
Awesome, man. Thanks. I couldn't say it better myself. Today, we're going to open up the show with some division talk and league news. Then, to give you a break from us, we'll be joined by Caleb Smith for another episode of NHL Newfie of the Week. And finally, Steve and I will talk about 5 prospects we think to be the best in the NHL right now. Okay, without further ado, let's get the show going. First, we'll talk about league news that happened this past week because I think this might be the craziest week we've had since August or
Well,
something.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
a lot has happened over this past week that we got to get into.
Contracts and
A lot of
no
contracts.
contracts.
Yeah, that might be the biggest news
Yeah.
of no contracts. So, all right. Speaking of contracts, so the first point I have on my list here is Nolan Patrick signs a 2-year deal with the Knights with a 1.2 million AAV. What do you think of this signing?
I mean, hopefully he can stay healthy. I don't think it's a risk to the contract at all. I think, what is it, 1.25? Is that what you said?
1.2 million a year for two
Yeah, we'll
years.
see. I think you can bury that contract in the minors and not have cap penalties because I think it's 1.25 mil you can put in the minors, not have a cap penalty.
Yeah, it could be a
So
two-way.
it's a safe bet. I mean, hopefully he breaks out. I mean, he was number 2 pick. He was supposed to be number 1 at the start of that year, but he slid behind Nico Hischier, and I
Yeah,
think the Devils won ultimately picking Hischier. But Nolan Patrick, migraine issues, it sucks. He has a lot of talent. And,
he does, man. I love him pieces too. So
yeah,
I
good
really hope he
contract.
stays healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another point we need to get to is Boston, who's going to be their number 2 center and starting goalie. Their goalies right now are Swayman and Allmark. Who do you
Allmark
think's
got to
gonna?
be. He got
Yeah,
the money. He got the money. So,
yeah, that's
and
true.
is Tuukka
And
Rask gone? I don't know. So,
I mean, not gone for sure, but if he doesn't come back, then it's probably gonna end up being Swayman and Allmark.
yeah, I think they go with Allmark first, but I mean, if Allmark's having a bad week, I don't see any reason for him to not start Swayman a few times
I,
in a row.
I think they split it 50-50 if I was in Boston.
Well, it
Um,
could happen either way.
he had sick numbers last year, Swayman. He for the last I don't know month of the Bruins regular season, he was their starting goalie, or uh, or at least
But
got a lot of time
yeah, well, I mean, he's a really good young goalie too. So they
for sure.
they got a few options there. I mean, even if they both goalies struggle, it's like Rask, we need you, man. Please sign a contract, play one more year, something like that. But
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are saying too is because Rask wants to represent his country at the Olympics, he'd have to, I guess, wouldn't have to sign. But if he's playing the Olympics, it's better for him to be actively playing and stuff so he can play the best there. And then
yeah,
after this year in Beijing, kind of call it quits.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's getting old, so I mean, it's pretty much he left the bubble a few years ago too for family trouble. So he's obviously um pretty worried about his family. I mean, he should be worried about his family more than sport, anyways. I don't want to make it sound like that, but I feel like he's probably wants to spend a lot of time with his children and his wife, and call
Yeah,
quit. I
probably
mean,
the
he had a really
same
good career.
reason Krejci left. And there's if he
Exactly,
still
man.
wants to play hockey, there's plenty of hockey. Where's he from?
Yeah,
Czech
Czech
or
Republic. I think he's Czech. Yeah,
oh, that doesn't sound right. I don't know.
I think he
Anyway,
is, man.
I hope so,
Yeah.
because I can't remember where he's from.
Spear.
Another point on my list here. Travis Zajac retires at 36.
Yeah.
He had 15 seasons in the NHL. He had 1,037 games played. Um, he had 202 goals, 348 assists for 550 points. What can you tell me about this player?
I mean, he was always just a top 6 forward, right, for the most part of his career.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember
for
being
probably all
young
of
and
his time
New
in
Jersey.
New Jersey, wasn't he? Or
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
a couple years he might have slipped to third.
yeah, I mean, I feel like the end of his career they were leaning to him at the lower part of the lineup, but I mean, he was assistant captain. He's a big leadership role in the room, and I was surprised he never actually had a C there. I don't think he did, which
I don't think he did either. I think he always had
Surprised
the
me
A.
because I feel like he was a good leader, but I don't
Mhm.
know, man. Just consistent player. He loved to play the game, and now he's in a management role, I think. So
He could be some kind of ambassador role.
yeah, I think it's one of those things, kind of like Shane down in Arizona. Like you just stay in one spot, you love it there. You raise a family,
Yeah, obviously
you
his
play
family's
good.
there.
Yeah, you don't want to leave, and I mean, I'm sure he didn't want to retire, but he's probably getting to the point where he's doesn't just can't handle it the same, and he wants to stay in the game, so he got a role in the
Yeah.
office or whatever. So it's good for him.
Yeah, he's definitely a player that I would want in my lineup, I think. Like I find him really um defensively responsible.
Oh yeah.
And he can obviously put up points. I mean, he had just below half a point a game in his
Mhm.
career. So
Yeah, and he went to New York for that cup run last year. Unfortunately, well, actually, fortunately, because I hate the fucking Islanders. He never
oh
got
my
a cup,
god.
which sucks. I wish he got the cup. All the same, I don't want to make it sound like that, but yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like he went for that one last cup run and never got it. He's like, that doesn't mean enough to me to break my body to pieces. I'm getting old, so
yeah, and that's
but
hard hockey too.
yeah.
Okay, now to the next one. Druin came out and said he stepped away for a mental health break last year. Um, he said he had a lot of anxiety and he stepped away. That's good that he came out because I don't know. A lot of people are just
Stigma.
talking about like break the stigma of it. A lot of people just think like, oh, beat up, or I know a lot of bad things we're saying about him. Just like he doesn't have the heart for the game. Like
Yeah.
he's, I don't know. Like we're paying him all this money and he won't even play with us. He wants to trade. He wants out. But I mean, it must have been hard for him to come out at the time and say, look, I'm just a bit anxious because some fucking idiots in the hockey world are like, oh, like pussy and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and
making
might
5 million, you can't be anxious. But I think regardless, if he made $1 a year, I think you treat him like a human, and mental health
yeah,
is just as
exactly.
important as
So
physical.
I'm
So
I'm happy to see that for sure.
yeah, I'm glad he's back. He's still got that upside to a certain extent, and maybe he starts to turn it around. Maybe he's got the mental health fixed up a bit and feeling better. So he might have a really good year, and go from there.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, so Kevin Hayes in Philadelphia is going to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a surgery recovery
Oh
this year.
really? I never knew that.
Yep, that's a bad bounce for Philadelphia.
Oh
That's
yeah.
their third line center there.
Yeah, and Kevin Hayes is huge, man. He's the heart of that team, as far as I'm concerned. He came in and he pretty much represents that team now. I mean, when I think of the Flyers, I think of Kevin Hayes skating up and down the ice, throwing the body and making good plays. So that's gonna
Yeah,
suck for them. Yeah,
it is. I'm happy it's I mean only a month and a half or 2 months. And
yeah. I mean, it could be a lot worse. So
yeah. Look at Tarasenko. Look after his surgeries.
yeah,
Um he had a lot of
hope.
time away from the game. So yeah, I'm glad that's only 6 to 8 weeks for sure.
Yeah,
But he also came out with a statement and said once he does return, he's really motivated by the passing of his brother to make this one of the best seasons he's ever had. He says he's been working extremely hard and just wants to get back to what he loves with the guys he loves in the dressing room.
if they won the cup, man, I feel like that would complete his life, and it kind of be a really good way to remember his brother, because I mean that would be more about his brother than himself in a way, because he
Yeah,
pushed
that would be
himself.
a great story. That could
Yeah,
be like
that
a
would be the
Disney
story of
movie.
the year. That'd be the story of the
I
year, and
think
they could
so
make a
too.
movie
Yeah,
out of that. Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm cheering for the Flyers this year just because of that fact.
me too. I had them missing the playoffs, but I hope to get in because they're
Yeah,
a fun
same.
team to watch. They're a
Yeah,
fun team to
yeah,
watch, man.
yeah.
So the Panthers Arena is looking for a new naming partner, formerly the BB&T Center, and now it's the Florida Live Arena. Um, so
Tough name.
I just thought that was fun.
Uh,
I'm going to throw a question at you now. If you were looking for a partner for your arena, what company would you want to be partnered with? Oh, we're going with the Coors.
I don't know. I mean, we're trying to get the sponsorship through the podcast. So why, if I own an arena, why wouldn't I want the same sponsorship? So,
Yeah, that's true.
just hockeytankpodcast@gmail.com. That's all I got to say. Send
Yeah,
that out to Coors Light. So that's all
hit
I
us
got to
up,
say on
Coors Light.
that.
If anybody from Coors Light's listening, please hit us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have to pick the Anyone Sports Skate Sharpening
Oh
Center
yeah,
for
from
my stadium.
CBS Newfoundland. Anyone Sports. Wow.
What?
Anyone Sports from CBS Newfoundland.
That's the one, man. The
Oh yeah, the
from my money, the
$6
best
skate
skate
sharpening.
sharpening company in the town at CBS right now, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I'd agree with
Yeah.
that.
For our listeners, I do a little skate sharpening business. Don't tell the CRA though, because it's all
Yeah.
on the table.
Oh shit. Also, you don't do the taxes on the. Okay, we'll stop. We'll move on. Next question.
um, so Robert Thomas just signed a 2-year contract
Oh.
with St. Louis at an average of 2.8 million a year.
And I think that is a good deal because ultimately, he was a big part of the team when they went to the cup. I know that was a few years ago now, but
Yeah,
he's got the talent. I mean, he showed it. He's got the drive. I feel like it's just one of those situations where young guy's a bad year and he's going to bounce back, and I think that's going to be excuse me. I think that's going to be a good contract that next year rolls around. And I think he's going to be able to get something. If he bounces back the way I think he does, he might be fetching 4 or 5 mil within a few years. Hopefully,
yeah.
he's a good
Well, it's
player.
only a 2-year deal, so
Yeah,
I
no
mean
risk.
the
Good
Saint, yeah,
contract.
yeah, great, yeah. St. Louis, so they can get a steal if he really pops off this year for 2.8, and then 2.8 next year.
Yeah, I think Jordan
Um,
Kyrou's got a similar contract. So getting two guys like that who's have scoring upside on those deals, I mean, you're making the Toronto Maple Leafs look really bad contract
yeah,
wise.
I'd say. I mean, if two of those guys can play anywhere in the top 6, then that's really making Toronto look bad,
Oh,
and a lot of
definitely.
other teams at that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of deals or players that had a bad year and signed a contract, Rasmus Dahlin signs a 3-year deal at 6 million a year with the Buffalo Sabres. My first impression on that is that's a pretty hefty number for a guy who really hasn't proven himself yet. But like Robert Thomas, if he pops off this year, I mean that's a steal for the next 3 years.
That is a contract based on name value rather
Yeah,
than play.
yeah, I think
It's
so.
Rasmus Dahlin, first overall pick. You can't lose him, and you don't want to get him sour because you already got your captain sour. So you kind of got to shave off a bit extra money for a guy there who hasn't really shown that he's earned it. And, he could break out and he could absolutely light the league on fire because he has that potential. And, you know, is it a bad contract right now? Maybe. Could it be an amazing contract? Yeah, maybe it could be an amazing contract too. But
Yeah.
at least it's not a 6-year contract. I mean, I think he'd have to be brain dead to sign 6 years in Buffalo. But I mean, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years. I'd say it's a good deal in the end
It
because
is,
Buffalo
yeah.
needs to keep players. They need to prove that they can keep players with skill. So I mean, it is what it is. It's not amazing, but it works.
Yeah, for sure. I think the arbitration went something like this. Darlene, you're shit. We're gonna give you $2 million. And Darlene said, if I don't get 6 mil, I'm fucking leaving. Fuck you guys. And then it was kind of
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
okay, fine, take 6 million, man. We can't
yeah,
lose you.
yeah.
We
Please
can't lose another first
take
overall
it
pick.
all. Yeah,
Speaking of the Buffalo Sabres, Eichel got stripped to the sea after not passing his physical this year.
you know,
What do you make of that?
I look at it like this: you're Kevin Adams. You got a player who wants disc replacement surgery. You don't want to give it to him, but you also don't want him to play either because he's failing his physical. He's not going to play. He's not going to get the surgery. So you
Hmm.
want to get good trade value. Why don't you let the guy do the surgery and then trade his ass out? So then the surgery's over with. If he recovers, he recovers. At least they know he's recovered. So maybe you'll fetch a bit more for him. I don't see you're not moving anywhere. You're staying still if you're getting a guy who's not getting what he wants and he's not playing. So I don't
Yeah,
really see his mindset in that situation. Just let him take the surgery. I know it's never been done by an NHL player, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Let him take the surgery. I mean, it's his own choice when it comes down to it. And I don't know. You're just not moving anywhere. You're not going to get a top 6 forward, a prospect, and a first round pick for a guy who is needs to be on the shelf for several months. It's just not happening. So I
yeah,
think
I
he's
know.
fucking clueless.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it was really petty. Like, kind of just like,
Yeah, kind of like the
I don't
fuck
know.
you. That's what it's more or less. It's a fuck you,
Yeah, it
situation.
is exactly that. It's kind of
Power,
like,
and I think,
oh, you don't want to do what we say? You're not captain anymore, kind of thing. Just like, it
yeah,
seems like playground rules. It doesn't sound like
yeah,
this is professional at all.
no,
I
no,
don't
it's an
know.
absolute joke in Buffalo, and I'll tell you right now, they're hoping because I mean the dude is a living human being. ultimately, if he wants to go get the surgery, he can go behind Buffalo's back. He can get the surgery. But the
Yeah.
thing is, Buffalo can suspend him without pay. So I got a feeling Buffalo, this dude makes big fucking cash. So I got a feeling Buffalo is hoping, kind of pushing him to go that way, like with no choice really. So if he goes and does a disc replacement without their consent from their doctors, they're allowed to suspend him from pay. I believe that's in the contract details. So I mean that would be good for them money wise because they don't have to pay this guy all this money who's not playing. But Jack Eichel obviously, he's on his end of like fighting. He's saying, "Well, I'm not going to get it, and I'm just going to sit here, and you're going to pay me." So
Yeah.
it's kind of both ways. They're kind of being a little bit childish, and in the end, I think the GM should just give in because you want to make your team better. You're not doing anything. You're just making it look bad by having them sit at home, eat some Doritos, and watch the Buffalo Sabres from home and laugh and rake in 10 mil and go drive his Lamborghini down to gas station and not worry about gas prices. This guy don't care, man. He makes 10 mil. Get it together.
Imagine the big dirty that would be is pushing him to get his surgery, suspend him without pay, and then like offer sheet Pedersen or something. That would be greasy. Anyway, enough about Eichel. Jesus, man.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I just had to let my opinion out.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine that you. I don't think he cares about gas prices either, man. So I agree with you. But what about Mcelhaney? He signs a 5-year deal at $5.4 million annual average.
Questionable. To me, I mean, he's had a few years' experience. He's put up some pretty good numbers, but I don't know. That's almost goalies don't get paid as much unless you're really elite. In my eyes, I think most goalies in the league who are really good starters make around 5 or 6 mil. But I don't know. He's had 2 years in the NHL, 5 years at 5.4. That's a bit much for me. I would have felt a lot better if it was 5 years around 4 million.
Yeah.
If he plays bad, you're not trading that contract, man. If he has a bad year and another bad year, you're paying that out, and he's sitting there. That's a Corey Schneider looking contract to me. And I
not
like
that bad.
I like the guy. I like the guy, man. But it's risky. I think it's risky.
Yeah, is Korpisalo still there?
Yeah, it is. So that's basically goodbye, Korpisalo. Pack your bags. You're out soon. Pretty much. That's what that deal says.
No, I think if I was a GM, I don't think I'd ever sign a goalie for 10 million, like a really good starter, but I'd sign 2 Mcelhaney types for 5 mil each and get
it's not
your 1-2 punch or your, that they can just split games now for about 5 mil instead of paying someone that's going to play, I don't know, say 60 games, 8 million.
Maybe I was a bit too harsh, but I just
don't
think
because
it's a great contract.
They got Korpisalo on
I don't think
a 4 million deal. So I don't think it was too bad. I think it's got a bit of term to it though. If Mcelhaney goes cold or goes sour in 3 years, and that's still a really big chunk of change for a backup goalie or something.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. All right. I think I've held this in long enough. What about Kaprizov? He signs a 5 million or a 5-year deal at 9 million.
Perfect deal. You can't go wrong. The dude's the most exciting player in the league. He makes McDavid look like beer league. I mean, the guy skates. He's the best skater in the league. He's probably the best shooter in the league. I mean, Austin Matthews is good. Whatever. Ovechkin, yeah, he might break the record, but I mean, if Kaprizov came in and when he was drafted, he probably would have been on pace to break the record. I mean, this guy is the best player in the league. It's not even close. I mean, anybody who thinks otherwise is a fucking clown. This guy's going to score 40, and he's probably going to get 60 assists. And I mean, he's going to light up the league. He's probably going to win every award there is to win. And I mean, a couple of years he's going to be raising the cup in Minnesota, and he's just going to be celebrating, and it's going to be the best thing ever. I'm going to have a Kaprizov jersey, and hopefully I get to, I'll buy a ticket, man. I'll go to the Cup Finals in Minnesota. I would sell my car. I won't get very much for it because I get a shitty car, but I'd do anything. This guy's good.
I think it's perfect term, and I think it's perfect chunk of change too.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah, no, you said it perfect, buddy. So a couple injuries here.
All seriousness, I think it's a good deal.
It's a great deal. I was afraid Minnesota wanted to lock him up big time, but
Yeah.
you know, probably had something like, I don't know.
People argue 1 year in the NHL. I'd say this guy's been a pro for a while, and he showed he can do it consistently. He's got Olympic gold, and he puts up great numbers wherever he's played. So I don't see it being risky at all. He's just gonna show up again.
Yeah, I was one of those people at first, but like I don't know, even after watching some of his highlights, like that kind of skill doesn't go away. His first year in the league, like he lit it up last year.
Yeah.
So I think that skill is here to stay. I think, like I said, 5 years at 9 million, I got no problem with that. Superstars are getting paid a lot more than that
11, 12.
to do, you know, the same job Kaprizov did in his rookie year.
Turn this team around, man.
You
Simple as
think he
that.
gets to see at some point?
I don't know. I don't know if he's one of the guys who gets to see.
He
But
gets an A for sure.
yeah, he'll have an A in a few years. Marcus Foligno and Matt Dumba just got A's in Minnesota yesterday, so that's a bit of news for you too that I didn't have wrote down. But maybe when he matures, man. I mean, he's on a 5-year deal. At the end of it, maybe, and maybe if he signs again for another 5 or so years, I mean, maybe that's when they give him leadership role. But I think right now, he's still young, just came in learning a new language, everything. I feel like they just want him to play good and not worry about leading the team.
Yeah, no, you're right. Um, Backstrom is out week to week, so he'll miss all training camp and then a week or so of the regular season.
That's tough. I mean, as you get older and you don't go to training camp, I'm sure it's harder to get back uh, up to pace with everybody else. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's Backstrom, so simple as
Yeah,
that in my eyes.
and like we were talking about last podcast too, Backstrom isn't relied on as much as he once was to be that top line center. I mean, that's kind of Kuznetsov's role now. Backstrom usually just plays on the power play and second line, so they just need someone to find. It's so much easier to replace the second line center than it is the top line center.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't know who they have in their depth chart in
not
Washington.
much. I would
Maybe
kind of
Connor
McMichael, man.
McMichael will
Yeah,
come in and try
yeah,
to push for an offensive role there.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah. Malkin is out for at least 2 months,
I had
so
that wrote down, man.
that hurts.
Is that really news at this point? I mean, the dude does he? I believe he's plays. Does he play like hockey anymore? Because I haven't seen him play in like 3 years. I don't know, man. This guy
Yeah,
just
he's really injury prone. I'm not sure what happened
yeah.
last year in the playoffs, but whatever it was, took all summer to get fixed, and he's still on recovery now for
Yeah,
at
it's
least two
weird, man.
months.
He's always hurt, man. I feel like
Yeah,
this
he
guy's
doesn't
made
seem
of
like he ever
glass.
plays a full season. But
He's still one
the
of the
only
best.
good
But
thing about this is every time Crosby gets hurt, Malkin steps up big time. Every time Malkin is out, Crosby goes insane.
Crosby's
So
out for a few
Crosby,
weeks.
he's a man, poor Pittsburgh Penguins.
Jeff Carter is #1 center for the first few weeks of the season.
Ouch.
Yeah, and then Teddy Bluger.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They really
So
don't have anything going for like draft picks too. Really.
who did they draft? Did they draft this year? Geez, they
They
traded
didn't draft in the
15th
first round.
overall. Last year they traded 15th overall to Toronto for Kasperi Kapanen, and Toronto picked Rodion Amirov. But
Yeah.
this year, I don't know if they had. I think Minnesota had their first round pick this year. They drafted Carson Lambos or Jesper Wallstedt, or what one was it? It was one of those, I think. It was
Yeah. It was one of those because it wasn't
yeah.
yeah.
So they don't
So
really draft anybody. So
no.
that's just how it
Malkin
goes.
doesn't play hockey and Pittsburgh doesn't draft players. That's
Simple.
that's simple math.
Yeah.
So St. Louis Blues and Doug Armstrong agreed to a 5-year extension, making Doug Armstrong the longest tenured position in that organization.
Yeah, he's a really good GM, I think.
He is too. He's a sneaky good GM because everybody wants to
Yeah,
talk about the Zajacs and the Yzermans and all
yeah,
those, but Doug Armstrong flies under the radar. But he created that team, the Pietrangelo, Tarasenko, all those great players that won the cup. He was the mastermind behind that. He obviously had a lot of help from scouts and stuff like that, but
yeah.
um,
You put this guy in NHL, and not NHL, sorry, at Canadian. NHL club, I mean, he'd be the talk of the town, I think. Put this guy in
Yeah,
Vancouver or somewhere like that, he'd be constantly talked about. He's a great GM, and I think he makes some great moves. Um,
yeah.
he's done it for a
And
while
he
too.
doesn't have any bad, like really bad contracts on that team that like we're looking at. Like, no, I don't know.
No,
No
not
Jeff
really.
Skinners, no. Even
No,
his superstars are paid relatively average. It's not like in Toronto, right? Like we're not saying
yeah, I know,
Jesus
I
man, we're
know.
shitting on Toronto as much as we're shitting on
Yeah, I'll wear my Toronto gear tomorrow.
yeah.
um, One thing I want to bring up about the Blues before we move on is they actually promoted Peter Chiarelli to vice president. I think. I think
Really?
Peter Chiarelli's got a big role there now, so I expect Doug Armstrong to probably be fired in a year and Peter Chiarelli take over the helm, and then expect Buffalo to drop completely off the radar in probably 3 to 4 years when they trade Ryan O'Reilly for Yaroslav Halak or something.
We'll
So
see. Speaking of St. Louis, James Neal signed a PTO
a
last
hat
week in
trick,
St. Louis and scored a
hat
hat trick in his
trick.
preseason opener.
Give this guy 5 mil. Peter Chiarelli's talking to Armstrong now. He's saying five
Getting
mil,
in his
5 years,
ear.
5 mil, 5 years looks good to me. This guy scores. All he does is score.
5 over 5, 5 over 5.
Yeah.
I James Neal is refusing to die. He
Yeah, kind of.
he was great in Pittsburgh and then he got traded to where? Nashville, and everybody's like, or where? Dallas or somewhere like that. Jeez, man, this guy's been
He was
everywhere. It
in
was Dallas
Dallas,
first.
Pittsburgh, Nashville, Vegas, Calgary, Edmonton, and the Blues. I feel like it's that meme where the guys in Simpsons, you throw fucking James Neal out the window and then you look and you James Neal's back behind you again.
Yeah. You can't get this guy out of the
Yeah,
league. He keeps
you
going and
won't
going. And
believe
just when
it.
you think like, oh my
He's
God,
done.
he was ass in Calgary, like he's done. He comes to St. Louis and scores a hattie in his first game. Like,
He was
I
in
don't know.
Edmonton last year and for 2 years, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I think he
you're
was
right.
in Calgary before. And yeah, man, he just fucking he finds a way to stay in the league somehow. And that's how he stays in the league, man. It's just he'll have those stretches, man, mid-season stretches. It's like, does James Neal even exist on this
He
planet?
always
Nobody
starts
knows.
the season hot. Like
Hot
in
man, hot
fantasy,
start.
he's always like ranked, top 3 in goals.
I remember I had him on fantasy a few years ago, I think, and when he was started with Edmonton, man, first year in Edmonton, man, this guy was scoring and scoring. He
Yeah,
was
he
like
was.
top 5 in the league for, excuse me, for goals at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so I'm
always, man. He always starts out so hot, and then I guess the old man gets tired and it's like, can't do this no more, boys.
yeah, and then he'll just show up next year, score a hattie, get a big contract, and do it all over again.
Yeah,
Rinse and repeat for James Neal, ultimate
yeah,
king of it.
yeah. That's it for my notes. Was there anything that I didn't get to?
Yeah, I have a few things here. I don't have much. Cal Peterson signs 3 years at 5 mil a season in LA, so kind of shows that they have faith in him to be the starter, and that Jonathan Quick is he's playing backup role now for as long as he stays with that organization. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
I think that's riskier than the Merzlikins because he's still a young
Yeah.
goalie, and even though he was lights out last year, he still hasn't had like a lot of NHL experience. Like he's got a lot of professional experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Goalies do that sometimes. They come in, they
Just
have a
get
great
contracts.
season,
Yeah.
and gets contracts, and then in a couple of years, we're talking like, man, why the hell is he getting paid so much? And it's because of those seasons.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have I don't think he has a huge resume of um, wins or anything, but they have confidence in him and shows what the deal he got. So we're gonna see what he does. He's one of the few goalies in the league that gets right. So that's a little something too. I mean, maybe that gives him a few saves every now and then because players are so used to coming in with a left catcher, and I think that's
Yeah,
a reason why he sneaks a couple extra saves in. So
Phil Kessel won't score on him. Phil Kessel always goes low blocker, but now he got to go low glove, and it's not
yeah,
getting past Hale. You know
no,
that.
no. Um, oh shit, I got to move on now. Um, there was a trade, Zach Sanford to Ottawa for Logan Brown and a conditional fourth round pick this year. Things didn't work out with first round pick Logan Brown in Ottawa.
Yeah, that's too bad.
What are your thoughts on that, man? Do you know much about the guy?
Not too much, man, but I know I like him a lot. Like, he's how big is he? He's a big body, right?
He's a big
He's like,
body, yeah. He's tall.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's perfect. He'll do really good in anyone's bottom six, and if he can, score 10 goals, maybe 15 assists or something, that's just a bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, didn't you say there was a draft pick in there too?
Conditional fourth. I think it's if he plays 30 games this year.
He'll play
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, well, he definitely could, and I think he still has potential. I mean, he was like 10th overall pick, man. He was a high pick a few years ago,
Yeah,
or 12th overall, something like that. And I don't know. You always give those players a few more extra chances because of kind of where they were picked. So maybe as a successful year. Sorry,
yeah.
I don't know.
That
That's
sucks too because he was a hometown boy. He was with the Ottawa 67s, got drafted right to Ottawa. So you kind of like to hear those stories work out. So it's too bad that they had to
yeah,
move on from him.
sucks. And Ottawa never really gave him any chances. He was kind of up down, up down, up down,
Yeah,
kind of the full time in Ottawa. So hopefully, St. Louis, Doug Armstrong, man, he sees something we don't. So he might
exactly.
uh, he might be signing a good contract and score some well deserved points in a few years. And that's it for that. And then Gail Chinyak signs a professional tryout with the Coyotes. So he's back in the desert.
Wow. Wow.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't see that. I can't
Yeah.
believe I missed that, or maybe I did see it and just skimmed over it for whatever reason,
Yeah.
but
So
that's
I mean,
crazy. I think he'll get a chance there.
yeah, he probably makes a team honestly because
I
look
mean,
who they
who else do
have.
they got?
Louis Erickson,
Derek
uh,
Steppen, or Steppen
Antoine
somewhere else now,
Roussel.
I think.
Yeah, I think Antoine Roussel, Jay Beagle. I mean, Louis Erickson. I mean, Arizona's looking for a cop, obviously, and Galchenyuk gets them one step closer with the
Yeah,
professional
exactly. Bring a
tryout.
bit of offense for all those veterans to play with.
Yeah. um, there's not much to say about that, other than he probably makes a team because, I mean, it can't be that hard to make the Coyotes, can
I hope
it?
not for Galchenyuk. I want to see him
No.
stay in the league too. I don't know. I like that guy.
Yeah. 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 It wouldn't
So,
hurt. Um, to move on, Patrick Marleau is still free agent. He hasn't announced retirement. What do you think happens there? Does he sign halfway through the season? Does he sign soon, or does he not sign at all and maybe announce his retirement next year?
I think it's got to be with San Jose if with anyone. Um, I don't know who's chasing a cup that really needs them right now.
And
Other
that's the
than
thing.
if
Yeah.
there's just a sneaky team that gets in and is just missing a bit of veteran leadership, needs them to come in and just show the young guns how it's done.
Yeah, and I'd love for him to go to a team that could win, man. I'd love for him to go to Tampa. I think Patrick Marleau in Tampa jersey would be a sight to behold, and I
Yeah,
think
he
that'd
would
be
have
really
to take a
cool.
big discount on what he's
Oh,
been taking.
geez,
Or
he'd be taking
he's
league minimum, man. He's
yeah,
taking dirt, man. He wouldn't. I think if he never had to have an NHL contract, he'd probably go there for free for a chance at the cup.
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of players would.
Yeah, so um,
If you
I
wanted
hope
your
he
name on
still
a cup that
continues.
bad and you already had money in the bank, I mean,
Yeah,
sign for.
even I wouldn't be upset if Toronto signed him for a veteran role in the playoffs.
He would be back with Mitch Marner too. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah, that would be cool. So I don't know if it happens because he obviously sold everything in Toronto, moved out, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully he gets another chance at the cup. I'd love to see it. Um, that's it for that. And Curtis McElhaney retires. A solid backup goalie. He's like when I think of backup goalie, one of the guys I think about is Curtis McElhaney.
yeah,
And
same. He was on the Leafs for a while, and I remember when he left or Leafs moved on from him. I mean, they
I
could have
was
traded
upset, man.
Matthews. They could have traded Matthews and wouldn't have got as much backlash as when
Yeah,
they traded Curtis McElhinney. People
I
hated that.
yeah.
Did he
I
get
mean,
one
I'm
or
a big
two
Leafs
cups
fan.
in Tampa?
2 cups, man, and he never
Nice,
played a single
nice,
game
nice.
in the playoffs.
That's honestly that's the way to do it. Just sit there, front row seats to NHL games, get your name on the cup, get paid.
I mean, this dude's
That's
intelligent.
yeah, that's how it's done. He's
And he was a really good goalie too. I mean, not like a guy.
he did what a
Um,
backup needs to do. He
yeah, man,
comes in, gives the
he's a
starter
really
a
good
break,
backup. Yeah,
and sneaks
exactly.
out with a couple wins in the season.
Yeah, and the thing about him, man, is I find like he was a veteran presence, especially when he played on the Leafs. I mean, Leafs might have had a young goalie who was better than him technically. Um, but when he was Curtis McElhaney was in net, he had that presence, man. It's just like all right, we can trust this guy. You know, he's been around a long time. He knows what to do. So like, if we make a mistake, we're not so worried as if we made a mistake when Garrett Sparks was in net. So I felt like he calmed
Yeah.
the team down, and that's what they needed at that time. And man, I was so upset that chose Garrett Sparks. McElhaney left, went to Tampa, and I think they regret that move. I don't know if they do now to this day because it's been a while, but
Yeah.
I think they did when they realized Garrett Sparks was garbage. Unfortunately, they. I mean, I talked
Is
to.
he still playing anywhere? Is he
I
in
think he's
LA
in the
or Vegas?
He's in the HL for. I think it's Calgary, isn't it, or something?
Calgary? I thought he was Vegas.
Maybe it's
That's the last
Vegas,
place.
man.
That's the
He's
last place I've
everywhere.
seen him play.
Yeah, so good career for Curtis. Anyways, I like the guy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get him on someday. Curtis, if you're
Hopefully,
listening,
man.
hop on a pod.
I would love that, man. He's
Yeah.
a great guy, I'm sure. My last news piece is Tyler Bertuzzi is unvaccinated, so he will not be playing in Canada this year.
Yeah. I seen that they were having problems, like in Detroit, like trying to find or try to get everybody vaccinated, and that just like crowd
Well, yeah. I mean, it
don't
is
want
what
to
it
fuck
is.
with the vax, man.
It's his choice in the end.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
It
his body, it's
sucks
his choice.
because I love to watch him play, and he's my favorite player, so I want to see him play as much as possible.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's his choice, like you said.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, at least it's not in one of those situations where Detroit's looking to necessarily make the playoffs like really hard. Like,
yeah,
you know, they can afford if they lose him for 3-game stretch or 4-game stretch. It's like this sucks because we're losing a good player, but it's not like we could. These are points we need to make the playoffs. It's a bit different. So you know,
yeah, and I know we have a couple wingers that are playing in the bottom six that, if maybe given a chance to play more top 6 minutes, would break out offensively. Like we got Zadina, Bertuzzi, um, Verana, and Lucas Raymond. So I don't know. There's obviously players that could be there. So maybe if they were given the chances for that bit of extra more ice time when Bertuzzi's not there, they can pop off
blessing in
and see
disguise.
what they got. Yeah. So I don't know. There's obviously I'd want to see Bertuzzi play over anyone
Definitely,
else in the
yeah,
top six because he's got good chemistry with Larkin and
yeah,
Fabry. I think
yeah,
Fabry gets a chance on that line this year with Mantha gone.
yeah, definitely.
Um, but yeah, sucks to see it, but I mean, it's his choice.
His
I'm
choice,
looking for
man.
a silver lining here as a Detroit fan.
And that's a
If
good way
there
to
is
look at
one.
it, man, because it's definitely a good idea to get some of the young guys in and see what they can do and more pressured roles. And, you know, it's kind of blessing in disguise in a way. If you think about it that way, if you want to think positive, um, that's the way I'd look at it too. It's a good look.
For sure. Thanks for listening, folks. Stay tuned. Up next, NHL Newfie of the Week. All right, folks, on to our next segment, NHL Newfie of the Week. As always, we're joined by our great friend, Caleb Smith. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm great, Trevor. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. Always happy to get some insight from our Newfoundland NHL players. Without further ado, buddy, take it away. You have the floor.
All right, this week we're going to highlight the first goaltender from Newfoundland and Labrador to step foot on NHL ice, and he's actually only one of two goalies to make it from Newfoundland, and we'll get to the second guy another week. But yeah, Doug Grant from Corner Brook is who we're going to be focusing on this week. And this
Awesome.
is a fun fact for our good friend Ryan Whitney over at Spit and Chicklets. Doug Grant actually played in the inaugural Quebec Pee Wee tournament with the Corner Brook Royals.
That's a sick stat.
He
Yeah.
didn't win it, but he played in the first one, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Before he went to the NHL, he played 5 seasons in the Newfoundland Senior Hockey League with Corner Brook Royals. And then in 73, 74, he finally got his chance in the show with the Detroit Red Wings. And he played there until 75, 76. And then in 76, 77, he went over to play with the St. Louis Blues, where he played until 79, 80. His total NHL career stats, he played 77 games for a record of 27 wins, 34 losses, and 8 ties. He did have 2 shutouts, which is probably the highlight of his NHL career.
Yeah.
Because,
No Vesnas?
Oh man, his goals against average, he ended off with a 4.0, and his career save percentage is .845.
Oh,
So
It was different back in
oh,
the day.
it
It was
was
different
yeah,
different.
back in the day.
obviously.
You
It was
This
can't
high
was
look at
scoring
it
back
before,
in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
this was before the dead puck era, so we gotta, take this with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
But I mean,
definitely.
overall, I mean, he still made it to the show, so props for Doug Grant.
Yeah, big time, man.
yeah. Good job, doggy. Wicked.
Yeah, man, Corner Brook guy making it. Jeez, I never even knew that. That's cool. I'm in Corner Brook now. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but
Is
it's
there
great
like
for the
a
young Corner Brook goalies.
is there a Doug Grant Avenue or something?
No,
Fucking
I don't think so. I haven't even
You'll
been
have to
down at the
look it up.
stadium
He
yet.
probably does have a nice few things dedicated to him, like
Yeah.
probably some
Yeah.
sports facilities or something.
Do you know if he's the only guy from Corner Brook to make the
No,
show?
I believe there's a few more that we'll
Oh
get to
wow.
eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think Terry Ryan played a couple years in Quarterbrook in the senior men's league.
Oh, okay, with the
Yeah.
Royals.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still the Royals, but I know he was over there for at least 2 seasons.
Nice.
For
They
sure.
got the Deer Lake. What's the Deer Lake team called? Jeez,
Red
nobody
Wings.
knows that. Red Wings. Is it?
Yes, Deer Lake Red. They like used the red Detroit logo and everything. You just got Deer Lake
Oh.
above it.
Wow, they should have he should have played for Deer Lake Red Wings and went play
Yeah.
Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
That's cool. Does Stephenville have a team?
I don't think so. They probably did back in the day, but not currently. No.
No. So how many teams is it, like Western Senior League or something?
I honestly don't know. They've like combined. They've merged that many leagues in Newfoundland now. I think there's only two on the go. There's the Avalon League and the I'm not even sure. I wouldn't be able to tell you the Western League probably what Corner Brook
Yeah.
and Deer Lake teams like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never followed the Avalon one. I'm gonna start getting that on the go. I think start going to games and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got the Renegades there. Are they the
Yeah.
Renegades? And
Renegades, Seabees, Paradise just got a
Caribou?
team. Paradise Warriors. There's
Oh, nice.
there's a nice few in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's competitive hockey. I must say, like it's really good. Like we got guys like Aaron Ashton come in and play for the Gander Flyers in the league. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty competitive hockey.
Superstars.
Mm.
Yeah,
Every team gets 3 imports like the European leagues.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty insane when you think about it that this guy played in Corner Brook in the 70s and ended up carving out a backup role in the NHL. I mean, especially with the limited scouting. I mean, imagine how weird it must have been for him to move into the United States from playing hockey in Newfoundland. It must have been a big change, and the fact that he actually got scouted and made it is pretty impressive. He must have been really good around this area. And made a good
I'd say he got scouted at like the Pee Wee Invitational when they were in Quebec or whatever. And then I'd say just got asked to move somewhere on the mainland because it's so hard to scout, especially must have been back in the 70s and that.
Yeah,
Just
all
get
you had was a
Newfoundland.
sheet of paper, man, and there was no internet. You couldn't go and search
Well,
up some
you-
guys' videos. I mean, it's just a piece of paper, basically.
Yeah.
Well, that was back in the '60s, right? Because he only debuted in the.
That's true.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so this was way back in the day.
Yeah,
He was
Yeah.
probably in the Quebec Pee Wee tournament right when Faulkner was like debuting in the show.
hmm
wow.
If
Yeah, I
any of
mean,
our listeners
it's
of this
different.
podcast missed the last podcast, we did Alex Faulkner. Go give it a
Yeah.
listen.
I'll try my best not to mention any other newfies until I do a episode about him.
Don't want to
Yeah.
give them all away.
Yeah,
No
There's
more
not
spoilers.
thousands. When you run out of Newfies, that'll be Ontario NHL Players of the Week.
Oshawa players for Trevor.
You'll be here
Yeah.
for 18 years. Yeah. Anyways, man, that was good.
Yeah,
I
thanks
had
for
no
coming on,
idea.
Caleb.
I had no idea. If you came up to me outside one day and said, "Steven, man, what's the first NHL goalie from Newfoundland?" I'd be clueless. But now I've learned a little bit, and I thank you for that information, man.
Well, no problem. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you some more insight next week too with a brand new
Yeah.
Newfoundlander.
I can't
I
wait,
hope
man.
so, man.
We'll see you then.
All right,
See
see you
you,
next
man.
week, boys.
All right, take care, buddy. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with us so far through our news and NHL New for the week. So last thing on the to-do list tonight, we're going to discuss our top 5 rookies that are coming in this year. So the criteria of this list is basically just going to be they got to have less than 25 games played in the NHL. They got to be drafted by an NHL team. They don't necessarily have to be a Calder candidate or, well, I guess all of them are, but not someone you would say is going to win the Calder, but just like who you think is the best NHL
affiliated
prospect.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So we got a list of 1 to 5 here. So 1 being the best, 5 being our 5th ranked prospect. Yeah, geez, I almost just said one being the worst, best, last being the worst. Holy shit.
The 5th best prospect in our
Exactly.
eyes.
Yeah. Man, you should just do the introduction. I'm fucking butchering this.
So
fine, anyway, I'll save the listeners some nerves here. Who's your 5th top ranked prospect?
It's a goalie. Yaroslav Askarov. That's a weird name.
Yeah, Russian, I like it though.
He was drafted 11th overall in 2020. He's 19 years old, 6'4", 176 pounds. I mean, the guy's huge. He's young. He's a great goalie, and he catches with the right glove. We talked about Cal Peterson earlier. Catching with the right glove. That throws players off, man. That's got a weird advantage. Sorry, I think in the league, because players are so used to majority of the time shooting, knowing the blockers on the right side. When you got a glove, it's a different aspect. You almost got to shoot differently. I know for myself, I found that too when I played beer league with guys who catch right, because I have, and it's different when you're going down on the goalie. It's a different feel. And
yeah, for sure, I can definitely see that. Just like I was just talking earlier about say a Phil Kessel type player, like coming down, cutting across the middle of the ice and just ripping one blocker side, because that's usually a goalie's weaker spot. But if you got a glove there and he's got a fast glove, that ass grab, and he's quick too in the crease, like you're not scoring those goals that you would usually score.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great goalie, and I think he's a future Vezina winner, man. He's just good. Listen to this guy's stats now. I didn't write down wins because I didn't want to focus on the wins, because I don't think the wins are important here, because that represents team more than the goalie.
Yeah.
So I didn't write down the wins, but I wrote down the games played, the goals against average, the save percentage. Before I get into the stats for Russian leagues, so I want to explain this. The MHL is like the major junior of Russia. The VHL is like the AHL, and the KHL is like the NHL. If you were to put it in perspective like that.
Yeah. So, in North American terms.
Yeah. So in 1920 in the VHL, which is an AHL level league, a pro league, he played 18 games. I think he was at 18 years old at the time, playing in a pro league. 18 games played, 2.45 goals against average, and a 920 save percentage. Great numbers.
Yeah, 920's elite. 920's elite.
That year he played 1 game in the KHL, the second best league in the world, as a 17 or 18-year-old goalie. 2 goals against average, 920 save percentage, same as the VHL. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 1 game, but still, that's top league for an 18-year-old.
Yeah. The next year, 2020, 2021, he plays 2 games in the MHL, which is like major junior. He has 0.50 goals against average, not even like a goal a game average. It's insane. And he has a 979 save percentage in the major junior of Russia.
I've never even seen a save percentage that high before.
No, me either. I mean, this guy's elite, man. He plays in the VHL, comparable to the AHL. Again, I'll keep mentioning it in case people listening don't get a hold on it. He plays 6 games, 2.12 goals against average, and 923 save percentage. So, I mean, elite.
Yeah, he's never been under. He's never been under a 920.
Get this now. 2020, 2021, plays 9 games in the KHL, the second best league in the world, 1.21 goals against average, 951 save percentage in 9 games as an 18-year-old goalie.
Crazy.
951 save percentage. Now we're into this year. I got stats on this player from this year because the KHL season starts early, so we've got a few games here.
Yeah.
He's played 2 games in the VHL this year. He's at 1.50 goals against average and a 940 save percentage. He's played 1 game in the KHL so far this year. He's got a 1.00 goals against average and a 944 save percentage. Over the last 3 years, in 3 different leagues. His lowest save percentage at any point was 920, and it's not over a long period of games. So let's say he played one game 1 year in the VHL and just had a bad game, he'd like have an 870 save percentage. This guy doesn't have bad games. So I mean
No,
that's
I've
pretty
I've never
intense.
seen him play a bad game. I've only watched him really at the World Juniors. But
He's elite,
no,
man. I
the
think he's
guy's
gonna be better than
insane.
Spencer Knight.
Yeah, he could. For sure. And I mean, there's a lot of really good young goalies, and it seems like
Yeah.
they all come from well, a lot of them come from Europe, man. Like
Yeah.
Jesper Wallstedt. Right now, I knew people were talking about him, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have the quickness I find like that Askarov does. Like watching him
Yeah.
play, he gets around the crease so quick, just on in the butterfly position, and he's
Yeah.
everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird seeing a goalie still catch right-handed though.
Yeah, it
Like
is. It's a bit
that's the only
weird.
thing I found weird about his game. But yeah, there was comparisons to Carey Price, to Fleury with him,
Yeah.
Dom Hasek, just the way he rolls around in the crease.
He's a
So,
good
like
goalie, man.
Askarov's crazy in the crease. I love it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
It shows that
And
like he just wants to do anything to get in front of the
yeah.
puck.
And before we move on, I'm gonna try and speed this up. I don't want to be here forever. I don't want to leave everybody here forever. I took some strengths and weaknesses that I found on the internet because I don't really know because I don't watch every prospect, but I got this from
Yeah.
the hockeywriters.com. I figured I'd put that in there because that's where I got these strengths and weaknesses from. Um, Apparently, his strengths are his athleticism, his glove hand, his puck tracking, and his positioning. So that's what you want a goalie to be good at. He's good at. He's pretty much good at everything. The only thing that
Yeah.
they say is a big weakness for him is he is going down too early. He drops before he needs to, and
Yeah,
sometimes it'll put him out of position. So I mean that kind of comes with experience. The more he plays, the more he's going to be used to. He's going to get used to where he needs to be and when he needs to be down, when he needs to be up. So there's not
for
much to
sure.
say.
Yeah, for sure. And I heard a lot of young goalies have that problem. Grant Fuhr was talking about it in an interview. He was saying,
Yeah.
I hate watching young goalies now because they're on their knees now before the puck even comes off the stick. Like, and obviously he played in a time where it was stand-up goalie. There was no
Yeah.
butterfly until the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So he's but he says that's how a lot of goalies are getting beat like up high now,
Yeah.
is because they drop too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but great pick. Like honestly, I think Askarov will be a Vezina winner, and I think maybe even a Hart winner because I think he's
really
so
good. He's
important for
elite.
every team he plays with, and he gives every team he plays with like such a huge advantage.
Lowest save percentage 920 over 3 years on 3 different clubs every year.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, I'd like to see him play in North America at some point,
Yeah.
either this year or next year, just
Yeah,
to see
hopefully he does.
where he's to. But I'll definitely be looking out for his stats in the KHL because I
Yeah.
assume he is going to play in the KHL because
Yeah,
you can't
pretty
send a
much
goalie like
cons-
that down to the junior league again or
No,
AHL league
he's pretty much
or
consistent
VHL.
KHL at this point until he signs in North America, and then maybe he plays a few games in AHL to get ready, and then he moves up to the NHL.
Yeah,
Mhm.
awesome. My fifth ranked prospect is none other than Quentin Byfield. I don't have crazy stats going back, but I will throw his recent numbers at you. So I think he had a great year in the AHL for an 18-year-old. So in 32 games with the Ontario Reign, he scored 8 goals and 12 assists for 20 points. I don't think that's as bad as a first-year pro, just where he's trying to find his way. And it's hard making that leap from juniors. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
That year, he also had 6 games in a show, and he only got 1 assist, but I thought he looked pretty good. Like, I was watching highlights of him, just like, I don't know. I feel like he's got a really accurate shot. He obviously didn't prove it in those 6 games where he wasn't playing a big role, but I think if he gets in with the team now, I think he'll be playing second line for sure. Like,
He's a
I know there's great players ahead of him, like Iafolo and
Dano,
he's
Kopitar.
oh God, yeah. Never mind. I didn't think about Dano, so he will probably get third line. But he might start off on the wing too. I think
Yeah.
he's natural
Very well
center,
could be.
but I mean, there's no harm in putting a center on the wing. Like it's harder for a winger to play center, I think, than the
Yeah.
other way around.
I mean, he's 6'4", man. He's 220.
Put him on the
He-
PP and just park him in front of the net.
That's where he goes. That's where he's always been, and he's
Yeah.
similar to Evgeny Malkin. And a lot of people have said that he's got that size and he's got the skill to go along with it, man. So I think this guy's going to be very successful, and he might show up on my list yet, considering I knew his height and weight pretty well.
Yeah. Hey, you don't have that just wrote down there by chance, do you?
No.
Yeah. But I don't know. Even though he didn't get any points or not any goals or big points in the 6 games he was in, I think he did learn a lot, and he was able to bring that back and work on it when he was back in the AHL
Yeah.
and try to come into his own. So I think next year will be his season, and I think he is the 5th best NHL affiliated prospect right now, but I don't think he wins the Calder just because I don't think he gets those reps that other players are going to get next year.
Yeah, and that's a good way to look at it too. You got players who are going to get more ice time than this guy.
Yeah, and so I don't know if
Excuse
they
me.
want to keep him in the minors until there is a spot in the top 6 for him.
You know, it
I
wouldn't
mean,
hurt.
you can play him on the wing for sure.
I don't think it would
on the
hurt to
power
put him in
play.
the minors for another year, first line center, man. It's not
Yeah.
going to hurt.
And I mean, if he's absolutely lighting it up, then just bring him up because he's
Yeah.
obviously just gonna help the NHL team a lot more than the AHL team. Yeah, so that's my 5th. Well, you already kind of pointed to it, so we'll skip right over and go into your 4th, because
Yeah.
you might have more to say on this man later on.
Yeah, I think I did.
So, who's at number 4 for you?
4, I chose Finnish centerman Anton Lundell for Florida Panthers draft pick. He was picked 12th overall in 2020. 6'1", 190 pounds. He's a left shot. This guy is a leader, man. He's a natural born leader. The Florida Panthers got a real gem, man. I really wanted him, or I didn't really want him. I really expected him to get picked higher in this draft.
So did I. I was so surprised he
He's got it
didn't
all.
get into the top 10.
Yeah, he's got everything to be a successful NHL player. And I mean, I believe his family is all professional hockey players. I believe his brother's a possible draft pick next year. I don't know if he's a high draft pick, but he could definitely be drafted. And I mean, he's got ties to professional hockey, and he's a natural born leader as far as I know and what I've seen. And I'll go over some stats now. And this is a guy playing in a pro league. This is Liga. This is compared to the KHL, but not as good. It's just a pro league, right? It's not a
Yeah.
junior league. It's not anything like that. This is men 30-something years old,
I
probably
would compare it to
20-something
the
years old.
SHL.
Yes, very similar. It's grown men he's playing against. In 19/20, sorry, he played 44 games in Liga. He had 10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points in 44 games. I think, was this after his draft year or I think this was his draft year. He got 28 games in 44 games. 20 points in 44 games. I get messed up my
I
words.
think it was going into his draft
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I got so many stats here, man. It just messes up your brain. 28 points in 44 games played. So, I mean, that's a really good year to play with, man. I mean, that's like almost as good as Capo Caco, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's good numbers, man. In that men's
for
league.
sure.
This year,
Anytime you
this
got a
past
boy
year,
playing against men too, it's
yeah,
even if
size
they,
difference.
yeah, oh man, and just experience and knowledge and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Anytime you're going to put up more than 20 points, it's impressive. So he
Yeah.
almost got 30.
This year, I'll tell you something really cool now. 2020/2021, he was assistant captain for his Liga team.
Oh man, I can only imagine being like a 44-year-old
Nine-
fella grinding out the entire for the last 10 years to try to become an A, and some 19-year-old
He's
steals it from
19
you.
years old, and he's got an A in a pro league.
That
That
is
tells you a lot about his
unreal.
character.
That's insane. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that tells you a lot about his character, man, too.
It does, yeah.
This guy's in it to win it. 26 games played, 16 goals, 9 assists, 25 points, almost a point per game in his second year in men's league. And I think he's going to make the Florida Panthers lineup because he's that good. And, I think down the road, if what happens to Barkov, I don't know. But I can see this guy being a captain of the league. If it's not with the Florida Panthers, probably somewhere else. Because I think he's that type of player, like a Bo Horvat style player.
Yeah.
It's who I would compare him to, and I think he's got more upside than Bo Horvat. I think
he does too. I think his offensive abilities are
Yeah.
crazy good. I can't believe he slipped that far in his draft. And I mean, if he's an assistant right now at 19, Imagine the leadership he's going to have when he's, a
26,
30-year-old
27.
vet.
Yeah, unbelievable. Some strengths I got written down for this guy is hockey IQ. He understands how to play the game at a high level. Puck protection. He's 6'1". He's a good size player. I mean, he understands how to protect the puck and get it in good areas. His passing and vision. He makes great passes. And his shooting. So he's not one guy who's he's not a one-trick pony. He's not a setup man. He's not a sniper. He's a little bit of everything, and playing all situations, which is the ultimate leader, like we said. Um, Weaknesses is his speed. He's a little bit slower than NHL.
Yeah,
This
that's
level.
a big knock on him. I
So I
forgot
mean,
about that, but it's coming back to me now.
yeah. So I mean, this guy's gonna get fast. It's not like it's not something he can't fix. He's just gonna get more in shape and he's gonna get faster. I don't see an issue with that. And another knock on him is his creativity. He plays by the book a lot of the time, and sometimes it's good to play by the book, especially if you have a really hard coach. But sometimes you need to be a little bit creative. You need to, if you want to open up the game and maybe sneak in a few extra points. It's nice to be a little bit creative, and apparently he likes that. But he plays the game by the book, and a lot of coaches like that, so he's going to be
Oh,
successful.
for sure. I'd say he's super coachable.
Yeah, so
That's just a knock on him because hockey's a quick game, and I mean everything changes so quick, and you need to be able to make those decisions like anytime of to do something different that people won't expect, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
that's my pick.
great pick. I didn't have him on my list. I wish I did now because you're right. That's a great pick, and I think he definitely
Because
makes
I'm
the
right.
roster. Yeah, I think he definitely makes the Florida team.
I hope so.
This year. He's going to be in, I don't know, bottom 6 because they just got crazy offense right now. But yeah, my 4th best prospect right now is actually Spencer Knight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he's for my money, the best goalie that has less than 25 games played in the world in the NHL. I think this guy is going to be a stud. Not saying Askarov won't eventually get better, but for right now, it's not even a question for me. Spencer Knight's the number 1 guy here. So in 4 regular season games last year, he went 4-0, never dropped 1 game.
Really, I never knew that.
In the NHL.
I never knew that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
and you could say Florida Panthers were unreal last year at defense. 919 save percentage, so almost a 920 save percentage as a 19-year-old. So that's sick. In the playoffs, he played the last 2 games of the series with Tampa Bay, the reigning Stanley Cup champion.
That tells you a lot when they got a goalie getting paid $10 million.
Yeah, exactly. And they had to bring in this young stud. So he went 1-1. So he actually did get a win in there. And in that win, again, you could say small, I don't know, sample. And I don't know, the team's just great. Obviously, they were in the playoffs and took Tampa to 7 games. He had a 933 save percentage in those 2 games.
That's amazing, man. I think Florida was Tampa's toughest challenge this year.
I thought that was, same. I thought that was a great series, and he was a great storyline too. It was just like Bob had a couple bad games. It's like, when are you going to put the kid in? The kid comes in and plays games 6 and 7 when you have Bob there getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, that says a lot about his future, especially with that team. And I think he could pass Bobrovsky this year. I mean, easily.
Yeah, and unlike Quentin Byfield, I think he will get the reps, and I think he is a consideration for Calder. Like, last year he didn't get a lot of games because Driedger was hot, but now that Driedger's gone, they got a lot of confidence in this kid. So if Bob has another bad year, this guy's going to be really relied on.
Yeah, Florida's made a lot of good moves, man, but that Bob move was a bit tough, but they made so many good moves that it makes that one a little bit less painful, but it's still painful.
It's one of those circumstances earlier where I was talking about, like, I'd never want to pay a goalie like close to 9 or 10 million just because it goes so bad over time. And if goalies are like that, goalie is a really mental position. Yeah. So you can't train your way out of a bad rut. It's kind of just like
it's difficult to be a goalie, man. It's the hardest job in the league.
For sure. What about your number 3?
Number 3, I have Caulfield, right wing for the Montreal Canadiens.
Nice.
2019, 15th overall. He's 5'7", 165 pounds. He's a mite, man. He's not very big. Right shot. And he's 20 years old. So he's he was drafted a few years ago, and he's getting a bit older, and he's about to shine. I think this guy's got massive potential as a goal scorer. I don't necessarily think he's going to be the best two-way player, but I think he's going to score a lot of goals. And you know, like we were talking about Patrick Kane, he's that type of player. He's not a guy who's going to put the team on his back and play both sides of the ice really well, but he's the guy who's going to score a lot of goals and be flashy, and he's going to sell a lot of jerseys probably. So
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
yeah. NCAA in 2019, 2020. He played 36 games. He had 19 goals, 17 assists, 36 points, point per game. Nothing wrong with that. He actually got close to similar goals and assists, like it's 19 to 17. That's pretty weird for this guy because all he does is score. So that was a bit of a weird stat when I looked at it.
Yeah.
He goes into 2020/2021. And NCAA, he plays 31 games, 30 goals, 22 assists, 52 points. Absolutely lights it up. I believe he won the award. What is it?
Hobie Baker.
Hobie Baker is the most valuable NCAA player.
Yeah, that's a good one to win. Usually people that win the Hobie Baker one do some pretty impressive things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that shows you how good he is. He's unreal goal scorer, man. That same year he plays in the AHL. This was this past season. 2 games in the AHL, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points. I mean, he's over a goal per game in the AHL. I know small sample size, but he can score against pro players, and it showed that there. And then, obviously, Montreal just couldn't wait to get their hands on him, so they put him in 10 games in the regular season, 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points for the Canadiens. Nothing wrong with that, man. For a pure goal scorer, 4 goals in 10 games. I mean, that's a pretty good look for your first 10 games. I mean Matthews scored 4 goals in his first game, so he's obviously not on that level. Let's be honest. I mean, Matthews probably had 8 goals by that point, so we're not going to compare him to Matthews. That's a bit unfair. We both know that. So no, but honestly, this guy's he's got potential to win a Rocket. I don't know if he does because I mean Matthews is in the league. I mean Matthews just scores so much.
It's going to be a great rivalry, though.
Yeah,
Matthews versus Caulfield. That's going to be the new.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ovi versus Sid. Well, not that big, but
not that big, man. Jesus, I wouldn't call.
Well, obviously not. They weren't drafted in the same year or anything, or these crowd weren't either. But
I don't think Cole Caulfield. I don't know if he's going to win a lot of wars, but I feel like he's going to be that guy who's going to be in the Rocket conversation every year. 40 goal scorer, I think you can pretty much put it on lock. I think he's going to score 40 goals eventually. Sorry. I don't know if he gets 50. Maybe he's a 50 goal scorer, man. He's got a lot of potential, so he could reach 50.
He does. He does have a lot of potential.
He could score 50 goals and 40 goals, and he's probably going to be in that range every year, 40 to 50, 40 to 50. And he might have a bad year, he gets 30, but I mean, happens to everybody. And I think he's just going to be a great player who's going to help Montreal go on some playoff runs. I don't think he's going to be the captain. I think Suzuki's the future captain. I think Suzuki's the guy. I think it's Suzuki, then Caulfield.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't put him in that Sid Ovi potential area because
I guess you're right. Yeah.
You look at a guy like You look at a guy like Matthews, and he's a guy. You look at a guy like McDavid, he's a guy. Ovi's a guy. Crosby's a guy. I don't think Caulfield's a guy. I think he's the other guy. But he's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, man. I guess with those guys like I said, Ovi type, you're looking for a player that can drag you into the playoffs, and I'm not sure right now. Oh, well, obviously the kid's fucking like 20 years old.
Yeah,
can drag him into the playoffs, but yeah, we'll see. I think he's gonna be a great player too. I think the guy gets a couple Rockets. I think he even gets a Hart, kind of just the same way like a Taylor Hall got the Hart.
Yeah,
I kind of think just has a year where he absolutely pops off and drags his team into the playoffs. So maybe he's the guy. Maybe I'll eat my words a little bit right now. Because I just said he wasn't the guy, but he sounds like the guy when I say it in my head.
Yeah.
I say it out loud.
I guess we got a different look on that, but I don't want to take anything away from him. I think he's going to score 40 to 50 a year, man. That's not many people do that. So I just don't think he has all the other tools to be the complete player. But that's where I'm going to get into strengths and weaknesses. I wrote down as a strength, deadly shot, speed and skating, soft hands. I mean, he's very Patrick Kane-like in that sense.
Yeah.
He's got the speed and he's got the soft hands, but he has a deadly shot. Weaknesses, he doesn't have very much size. I mean, the guy's like a dwarf. I don't want those
The
to be
guy's like a
mean.
12-year-old man.
Yeah, but he's
Like I could fist fight this guy and win, even though this guy's a pro athlete.
yeah, and he's got an insane skill, but he doesn't have the size, man. So I feel like maybe I know size doesn't matter as much, but you get to the late part of the season, everybody's ramping up for the playoffs. I feel like that's when this guy probably drops off a bit scoring wise. Games get
Yeah.
tighter, but I mean he's still going to score a lot of goals. And the other weaknesses, geez, what the fuck do I have wrote here? Needs to play better defensively. I mean, that's what they had wrote down on the website. Did a bit of research, and apparently he doesn't like to handle the puck in a defensive zone. And apparently, when he makes a mistake on the ice, most of the time it's not in center ice, it's not an offensive zone. He'll turn it over in the defensive zone. So comes with time, and a lot of goal scorers get better at that as they get older, and some don't. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens with him.
I mean, the first 5 years Ovi was in the league, that's all people were saying. Just he only plays in the offense. He's not a 200-foot player, but I think he has kind of adjusted to that and has gotten better ever since, say, like 2012, 2013-ish. I think he's been working a lot on his defensive game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
So-
probably going to happen with this guy too. He's going to work on that because everybody wants to get better when you're that good. So,
Yeah.
it's my number 3.
Nice. My number 3 is Moritz Seider. Call me a homer if you want, but I think this guy's the best. Like I said for Spencer Knight, I said Spencer was the best goalie under 25 games played. I think Moritz is the best defenseman, like by far under 25 games played. In 49 games in the AHL in 2019, the guy scores 22 points. So his first year on North American ice, what are you going to do? You know, like he's not meant to be a goal scorer anyway. I should have got his plus minus for you because that would be more of a determining factor of his defensive abilities. But anyway, and then obviously the AHL never had a season last year, so we went back to the SHL. In 41 games, he got 28 points and won the Defenseman of the Year in a men's league.
That's insane.
And
I know.
2 years before that, he won Rookie of the Year. So he comes back 2 years later, bigger, stronger, and a bit of experience on North American ice, comes back and wins Best Defenseman of the league. This year in the World Internationals or whatever,
IIHF.
Yeah, exactly. He got 5 points in 10 games, so half a point a game with Germany for the last year, and he won Best Defenseman in the tournament. So everywhere this guy goes, he just wins Best Defenseman and Best Rookie. Something. He's not going to win a scoring title. I don't think he gets a Calder because he's not like a Cale Makar type or Quinn Hughes. He's not going to be able to get you a lot of points, but he can eat minutes and he's a big body, and he's great defensively.
Yeah, and you're right, man. And as you were talking, I quickly, while I was listening, I searched up his plus and minus. Figured I'd bring that in because this guy might be on my list too. And I'd like to know that myself.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was a -5 in the AHL, which kind of shocked me.
Bad bounce, but
in the
first
SHL
year
where he won SHL when he won Best Defenseman, he was +14 along with 28 points. So that's good, man.
Nice.
So I mean, this guy's top level defenseman. He's 6'4", 207 pounds.
Oh, that sounds familiar. That sounds like
might be on a list.
Sounds like he might have it handy there.
Yeah, I mean, all this guy does is put up great numbers in every category, plus minus. I mean, -5 in Grand Rapids. Who gives a fuck? 28 points in SHL. I mean, to do that at such a young age as a defenseman is really difficult. And I think he's going to step into the NHL seamlessly. I think he's going to have maybe a 20, 30-point year over 82 games. I don't think it's going to be one of those seasons where it's a lot of points. It's just going to be like, let's say he has like 28 points again in the NHL in 82 games, and he's a plus like 12 on a Detroit team that's not amazing. I mean, that's a successful year.
No, he's not going to be that. It's going to be like in Grand Falls, Mort side of there playing in Bishop Falls for the Cataracts or something. Jesus, the hell's wrong with me? In Grand Rapids, it's going to be one of those years. It's going to be a learning year. He's going to come in, probably play top 4, eat a lot of minutes, learn a lot about the North American game just further, where he was in the SHL last year. And just get acquainted with it. And then next year, I think, is where he comes into his own. But I think for my money, he's the best defenseman under 25 games affiliated with NHL team. And I'm so excited to watch him play.
5 years.
I wouldn't give it 5 unless he's like fucking Adam Fox or something. But I would say later in his career, he definitely wins a Norris.
Yeah.
Detroit got to get better before he can
really
win some awards and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
Detroit's on the come up, man. 2026, Detroit will have a cup, or at least be close. I'm giving it 5 more years, man.
I think you're right.
I think Stevie Y has a plan that he's had since day one, and he's coming into it. Yeah,
I think you're right, man.
You got a number 2 pick for me, or what?
I do. I don't know if you've heard of him before. His name's Moritz Sutter.
Nice. Yeah, I think I was talking about that guy a while ago, man. I can't remember what we were talking about now, but I think he come up in a conversation.
I got wrote down here in bold, top D man. So that shows you what I think of this guy. He's a top D man.
Let's go.
And strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, decision making. Off the prospect side, I got and skating and defensive awareness and passing. So he's pretty much the perfect guy to kill penalty, the perfect guy to eat 20 plus minutes every night.
Yeah.
Good decision making, man. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and when he does, he finds a way to recover because he's fast skater and he just has awareness of where he is on the ice. For weaknesses, I put down puck skills. He's not good at deking around the puck and just being crafty.
He's too long, man. He's too long.
Yeah,
he's not shifty.
Yeah, that's a critique that those scouts had, and another critique that I had wrote down earlier about Anton Lundell: creativity. This guy plays by the book too. He's not gonna flick it behind his back and sauce it to the defenseman.
You won't see him get a Michigan goal this year, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. He's pretty by the book. I mean, he just plays the game the right way, which is not a bad thing. But sometimes you need to open the game up. And that's where you need a bit of creativity. I don't think he's going to give you that, but you got other players to do that. You got Lucas Raymond. He's gonna come up with some of that stuff, and you got some other guys there who are gonna help with that. So I wouldn't worry.
And Edvinsson, we just drafted him. I think he's more creative and more offensive.
Yeah.
So I think the plan is Sider and Edvinsson.
Sider is going to shut him down, and Edvinson's going to
light him up.
Maybe run the power play, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my pick. I don't have much else to say on him. We talked about him for a while.
Yeah, I think it. I don't know, that by the book, defensive awareness, passing, decision making. I think that's why he is getting like defenseman of the year in the SHL and best defenseman in the tournament of the IIHF. He's a great defenseman, and I mean these points aren't bad. He's usually clipping at like just above half a point per game too.
Yeah, that's good.
So I mean, 82 games, 40-point defenseman.
He's a really good passer. He's good at moving the puck.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't give a fuck if he gets 1 point as long as his plus minus is fucking unreal. As long as this guy like does not let anyone score a goal on Nedeljkovic this year, I don't give a shit if he scores 1 goal. I don't honestly. I'd love to see it though, because I think he is going to be my favorite defenseman in a couple of years.
Yeah. That's my pick.
Awesome, great pick. I love it.
I know you do.
Yeah. So there's 2 Trevors on the podcast today because there's also Trevor Ziegris joining us. 9th overall in 2019. He's just the most creative guy I've ever seen, drafted in recent years anyway. Like Patrick Kane all the way, just what this guy can do with the puck. Just, I don't know. I love watching him in warm-ups and stuff like that. He's just so creative and fast, and he's great deker. Great shooter, great in World Juniors. I don't know. I'll throw some stats now. So he had 13 points in 24 NHL games last year, which is almost half a point per game
pretty
for
good,
an
man.
18-year-old. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and where Anaheim doesn't have a lot of offensive pieces around, I can almost kind of say right now that he was behind a lot of those points. Like he wasn't just getting tap-ins. Like he actually
He had to
worked for
work.
those points, and
Yeah.
he, him and Drysdale are going to be, I don't know, great together. I think
I think
he'll get a lot of ice time this year too, because where they are lacking those pieces for the offense, he's going to get every touch on the power play, and probably some time in the top six. It wouldn't surprise me if he was playing third line to start the year, but I think by the second he's consistently on the second, or start the year on the third line. Sorry, and then he's going to be on second consistently.
He's gonna work his way there. He's gonna be first line eventually. I mean, maybe a year he's first line.
Yeah,
'cause he's
but
that
he
good.
and the weird thing is he was drafted 9th overall, so you're not really drafting a guy 9th overall that you're saying is definitely going to be a top line in the league. But I think people are looking at him now like, yeah, this guy is definitely a top line center.
Oh, I see it, man. I see it, and him leading, not necessarily leading, being the captain, but just leading them offensively every game.
Yeah, I don't think he gets to see. I think maybe McTavish does. McTavish seems like a better leader.
He's cool, man. He's a cool player to watch.
He's like a cucumber, man.
Yeah.
But I think Ziegris is first line now, and then you kind of got McTavish to play a Getzlaff type role.
McTavish can play on the wing too. So
Can he?
yeah,
Oh
he's
man,
played on the wing and center.
those two would be great. Those two would be like a can and Taze.
Yeah, two different fields because you got McTavish coming in to hit you and play hard and
Yeah,
like aggressive, and then you got Zegers to put the puck between your legs, make you look stupid.
yeah. Let's go
I don't even
Ducks.
really like Anaheim. Actually, yes, I do. I like Anaheim.
I like Anaheim.
Yeah.
I didn't like them until like 2012 though.
I don't
because
love
they
'em.
fucking took
I don't love
Ottawa
'em.
to the playoffs in 2007.
I like them. I don't love them.
Yeah. No, they're a middling team for me too.
One of my favorite jerseys of all time, though. That's what
Oh
I
yeah,
get at.
the Mighty Duck.
Yeah. That's a great pick, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Nothing wrong with that.
Now I think all the viewers are getting angsty, to hear who you had at number one.
Well, it's got to be the guy that I had stats on that I haven't spoken about yet, Quentin Byfield.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I got him number one.
Yeah, I was waiting for this guy to come up. Yeah, it does. Stats, weight, age, height, eye color, freaking what kind of car he drives, his license plate, his home address, his phone number.
Social insurance number. Yeah, everything. I don't know if they have those in the States. He's originally from
I don't
Canada,
know.
so sorry. Center for the LA Kings, second overall in 2020 behind Lafreniere, 6'4", 220 pounds, left shot, 19 years old. I look at this guy differently than all other prospects. You look at guys like Ziegris and Caulfield, and well, that's pretty good examples. They're gonna get the chance to be on the top line. They're gonna get the chance to be the big time players. I don't think Quentin Byfield gets that chance, so I think it's gonna be a harder transition. I got him wrote down as a top 5 prospect. I got him at 1 because I think in the end, when it's all said and done, I think this guy is the highest ceiling out of anybody. I think he plays. I mean, I've seen it everywhere online. I play similarly to Evgeny Malkin. I mean, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he doesn't have the injury history like Malkin when it's all said and done. But 6'4", man. He's built like an NHL player before he was drafted, man. He was playing in Sudbury, just like a monster. Nobody
just
can get
running
the puck
over
off this
kids,
guy.
man. These poor kids are like
Yeah.
5'8". These
Yeah.
kids he was playing around look like Caulfield, just run them over.
Yeah. He's the highest drafted black player too, which is really cool. That's something special for him.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And anyways, in the OHL in 2019/2020, 45 games, 32 goals, 50 assists, 82 points in 45 games. So I mean, it's OHL. Don't look a lot into it like that, but I mean, he was the youngest draft eligible player that year, and for him to go second as youngest draft eligible and like almost doubled his points per game. I mean, that's pretty good, man, because he's young, man. He's been the youngest player wherever he's went. He's played World Juniors team. He was the youngest player on that.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's got those extra years to lean on like some players, and he's got work, and he's he's always young, so it's a little bit harder to get in when you're younger. And the AHL this past year, 2020, 2021, I believe he was the youngest player to ever play in the AHL, actually,
Really?
age-wise,
That's cool. That's a cool
with,
stat to have.
with his birthday. And he still put up 20 points in 32 games played. He had 8 goals, 12 assists. As the youngest player to ever play in the league, as far as I know, I might have that mixed up, but I'm fairly certain that he's the youngest player to play in that league.
I know he was the youngest player last year.
Yeah. So I mean, like that says a lot, man. The youngest guy to play in the league, and he's 12 points below point per game, which is a little bit. But I mean, I'm sure he was dangling around second to third line center. He was, he was up and down. So, he's good point totals, and
He's
the
trying to feel it
upside's
out.
there. Yeah, man, the upside's there. And he played it 6 games in the NHL, and he had 1 assist, which doesn't. He wasn't getting the big minutes. Cole Caulfield came in right away. He was like second line wing man, like after hop. This
Yeah.
guy was playing third to fourth line, just trying to dig his way into a role. So it's different. You can't really compare that. I don't think it's fair yet till you get like let's say 100 and something games under their belt. Then you can start comparing because every team's got different ways to bring him in. So you can't just judge him by 10 games and say he's way better than this guy. I don't think that's fair.
So exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah, kind of, but I don't.
Can't do that.
This is just how I
No.
feel about the guy. I
Yeah,
think,
exactly. This is just for a bit of fun. We're not making any money or trying to win
couple
a Stanley
years,
Cup.
man. Yeah, a couple years, man. Give him a few games. He's gonna figure it out. And I got his strengths here. Hockey IQ, knows how to play the game, puck control. I mean, he's big body. I mean, especially in OHL, he was just like nobody could get the puck off him because he control it. That he's got that reach and he can put his
Yeah.
body in the way. Passing and his vision. He's got really good vision. He makes good passes. He can really good backhand. He can sauce the puck on the backhand well between the legs and just a little few things that not every player can do well. He can do that. And it's good stick handling and power. He's really powerful when he wants to be really
It's
powerful.
like a
shot.
horse, man.
Yeah. And his weaknesses, one weakness actually, which is surprising, is physicality. He's not physical enough.
Yeah, a lot
as
of
I
people
think he
said
should
that.
be.
He said he should be throwing his body around every chance he
Yeah.
gets. But he plays like a skill player instead of kind of a grinder type.
Yeah, if he works his way into being more physical, I think that's gonna give him a lot more opportunities to score points because they're gonna put him in a better position. So I think he knows that. I think a lot of people probably told him that honestly, and he's probably working on putting himself in places to play physical hockey and create opportunities for himself. And another thing, weakness would be his face-offs. He's not a very good face-off man, which is not good because you need to be good at face-offs to play in NHL. But Nick Suzuki's a terrible face-off man for Montreal, actually. And I mean, I know they talk about that a lot because I don't know that myself, but they talk about that on Sportsnet and TSN. They say this guy's got to work on face-offs. Philip Deneau's gone.
Yeah, that's going to come up a lot this year. That Philip Deneau's gone. Got no one to win face-offs for him now.
Yeah, I mean, Suzuki is the ultimate player. The one thing he needs to add is those big defensive zone face-off wins, and he's next level. Like he's working his way up to being a superstar. Yeah. So that's kind of knock on Quentin Byfield too. He doesn't win many face-offs. It's almost like he doesn't try. Sometimes he's just just whatever. Like, well, it's not a goal. It's only a face-off. Don't worry about it. Which is, I guess it's something you got to work on if you want to play that. So, and then the last weakness is speed. Sometimes. He's a bigger guy. Apparently, he can get gas in certain situations.
Yeah, I can see it.
He's going to work on it, and it's going to be fixed. I mean, if he's going to play in the NHL, I'm sure he's been working on his speed all summer, and he's going to continue to do so. So I wouldn't look into that too much. A few years, he's going to be flying.
Yeah, definitely with his physicality, I think he needs to. I don't know. He probably thinks that he's smaller just where he's always been the young guy. He probably thinks that he's a lot smaller than he is. So he's like, I can't throw the body against these guys. These guys are like, 10 years older than me, but he could truck them. And I think if he played with that edge, if he played with that edge, he would have a lot more space for himself and be able to get around better. As far as his speed goes, I didn't really notice his speed. Probably just his durability or his stamina. Endurance, that's the word, yeah. And but face-offs, that's a huge thing. But I think
when
it could work out in his favor, just because if they put him to the wing, I mean, he'd get so many more chances on the wing than in center because they got Turcotte, they got Deneau, they got Anze Kopitar. They got so many centers coming
Everybody.
up. Yeah, so I think if he transitions to left wing, I think he gets so many more chances. But it's just hard again because he's probably used to just playing the middle up and down. So now he'd have to play
It's a
corners
different,
and
yeah, it's a
use his
different way
body
of
and stuff.
playing. So I think he's gonna work on faceoffs. He'll probably be a good faceoff man when it's all said and done.
I don't know. You look, the league still respects big centers. Like Evgeny and Pittsburgh, gets laughing at Anaheim. Like you still need a huge, or not a huge,
He's gonna
but
be
like
the centerman. He's gonna be the first line centerman. You just don't take a guy like this and throw him on the wing forever. He's gonna play center when he gets figured out. I don't see that as a problem in the future. Right now, it's a bit questionable, but 3 or 4 years down the line, he's second line, first line center, and I think he's got a Hart Trophy and it works. I think this guy is good, man. And everybody digs into his numbers so much. Oh, Tim
I
Stutzle's
know.
better. It's a different situation. This guy's so much younger. This guy's almost a year younger than Tim Stutzel. I mean, it's a different situation, man. You can't look into that. I think people like uh, to see where players are drafted and judge them right away. You got to give him
Yeah.
time. I think this guy's got a Hart Trophy, man, in his future. I don't know if he wins a cup in LA or anything, but I think he's a
LA's
70 to
got the
80 point
pieces
player.
coming up, man.
I think he can get 80 points a season, man. I think this guy is elite, and a lot of people don't see it, but I'm gonna stick to my guns until 15 years down the road, and when I'm in the wheelchair rolling around, somebody can say, "You know what, Steven, you're fucking stupid, man. You thought Quentin Byfield was gonna be a good hockey player." Like, yeah, I know. Well,
No, he's on my list. The way I built my list though is I did as of this second. So as of this second, I don't think Byfield's better than my other four players, but I think in the long run, yeah, he does. He does get a first line spot on any team he's with. Like it was still a question. Like if he wasn't going against like Lafreniere, like he probably could have went first overall in a lot of drafts. So yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah, and great breakdown of his play too, and all his strengths and weaknesses. I wish I did
excellent.
something like that too now, but I guess you live and you learn.
Live and you learn.
So yeah, you haven't heard his name yet, and I picked him to win the Calder. So you're gonna hear his name again now. Cole Caulfield, I think, is the best player right now under 25 games played by an NHL team. So I'll just break down. So last year he played 70 games between AHL, college, and the NHL, and he scored 43 goals. So not bad, kid, I guess. And then eight of those goals came in his 30 NHL games. So that's playoffs and regular season. He had 20 playoff games, so that's hard hockey. And he had 4 goals
He
then.
played really well for some portions of that too. Like he was playing really well. Some portions he had a few.
I mean, he scored huge goals. He was getting
mistakes.
OT winners.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
being 18, 19 years old and your coach trusting you to go on the overtime of a playoff game. I think they
played
were
really well
hesitant to
there for
bring
a
him
while.
in last year just for his size, and I know they wanted to take their time with Caulfield. They were seeing what Detroit does and how good their prospects come up. Says, "Boss, we got to do something like that." But I mean, he lit up college, he lit up the AHL. Like, what are you gonna do? Just let him play
Right.
down there? So no, you bring him up, and that was the right call because I don't think they would have made that playoff run without him.
I mean, he
Honestly,
was an important piece at certain points. I mean, he was scratched a few times because, got to get the veterans in, got to get Eric Stahl some reps. He's ancient. Got to get him in there, make sure he don't seize up. But
yeah, gotta keep him greased.
yeah,
um, I mean, the guy can score from anywhere though, and now that he has experience and confidence in the NHL, I don't see there's any reason why he doesn't win the Calder. And Trevor Ziegris was saying that he was going to score 40 this year.
I don't think
I
so.
mean, I don't think he scores 40 this year, but I
No,
think he scores 50 eventually, and I think he wins a couple Rockets for
I think
sure.
he scores 30 this year.
I think he scores
30, 31.
I think he scores 25 to 30. I can't see him scoring more than 30. 30 games from rookies a lot, but all the same, he will be playing top 6 and getting
Yeah.
all the time on the power play.
Yeah, Matthews scored 40. Are you kidding? I was so
We'll
butthurt.
see. I'd love to see Cole score because I love to see players that have fun playing the game, and he's
Yeah, he's gonna be a good
probably
player,
the
man.
he's probably like he's all smiles out there, and I love watching him play, because I know that's what I'm like on the ice. I'm smiling the whole time, having fun,
Yeah.
working my ass off, trying to get a couple goals in beer league, trying to score 30 in my rookie season this
Oh
year,
yeah.
and
Yeah. Get that big
in
contract.
friggin' St. John's beer league. So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
a good list, man.
so what I'm saying is, me and Cole Caulfield are pretty much the same player, same
Yeah,
skill
pretty
and everything.
much. Yeah. I should look in the
Yeah.
sun in you.
Yeah, I mean, if Montreal would just give me a chance, man, and call me already, they might
Yeah.
like what can I bring, but
Yeah.
that's
Going with the
it.
wooden
They're
Sherwood,
lost.
wooden Titan.
Yeah, and to get and a Jofa bucket. I don't got it
Yeah.
in here. Shit,
Yeah.
but great list, man.
Yeah.
You
You
gave a
too.
lot of great explanations. You brought a lot to the table, a lot more to the table than I did. So I'll have to
Wouldn't say
step up
that.
my game next
I
pod.
wouldn't say that.
No, what a
Yeah, it's a good
time.
list, man. It's a
Yeah,
good podcast. Yeah, well, I guess
fucking
this
right
is
it
it,
is, man.
man.
It's best in Newfoundland.
Episode 3, episode 4 next week sometime is going to be recorded on Sunday, I guess. So hope everybody who watches. And actually, before we go, the guy from Hesse, Germany, you're a legend, man. I hope you keep watching these videos. And we had somebody from Virginia listen to it, not watch, but he listened to the podcast through Spotify or Apple or Anchor. So thanks for that. It's nice to have a German guy listening, and I think I'm gonna have it on more. Well, we're gonna have it on more platforms soon. I'm working on that. So I mean, it's not like anybody listens to anything else anyway. So I'm not too fucking worried about it. But just to
Yeah.
do it, so it should be
Uh,
done this week.
For sure. German guy, if you know more insider, give him my number. Tell him to tune into the podcast. I want to get him on
Yeah.
for a preseason review.
Yeah.
Yeah, guy from Virginia. I don't know any hockey players from Virginia. I'll have to get you my list next week. But thanks for tuning in. You guys are fucking beauties. All of our 20 listeners. So
18.
thanks, guys. You guys are what makes the us keep doing this. You guys
Yes.
put
Yeah.
food on our tables. I
Yeah.
fucking love you guys.
Yeah. See you next week, buddy.
See you next week, boss. Thanks for tuning in.